You've seen the title of this, you clicked on it. I'm assuming you like chalupas. Who doesn't? They're delicious. Problem with chalupas, especially if you try and make them at home, where do you get the shell? You don't. You have to make it. I know, I just scared the crap out of you. Don't worry, it's super, super simple. It's really, really easy. I don't really bake much, pizzas and stuff like that, but this is one of the easiest doughs you can ever do, and it's easy to make, and trust me, don't be afraid of it. You can do this in a couple of minutes with like no special equipment whatsoever. You don't need a mixer or anything like that. You can make these shells, and they're absolutely delicious. They're spot on perfect, and there's no reason not to, so get started doing that as soon as I show you how. But I'm gonna show you how to make the Chalupa Supreme and the Baja Chalupa. Yes, because the Baja Chalupa is amazing and we love it, and they got rid of it because that's what Taco Bell does. But I'm gonna show you how to make it super simple. The sauce is a piece of cake. Otherwise, it's just a basic chalupa. They didn't change much to it. They just put, instead of sour cream, they put the Baja sauce in it. That's all. I'll show you how to make the Baja sauce. I'll show you how to make this. I'll show you how to make the meat. I'm going to show you how to make the meat, like for real, how to make the meat. There's a couple tricks I haven't showed before because I'm lazy, but I went all out. So you have to stick around to watch this sucker so that you can see how everything is done. And there you go. Let's go. What's the number one thing you need to make a chalupa? The chalupa shell. You can't buy them. They don't exist. It is a special thing that Taco Bell makes that no one else on earth does. It's not flatbread or fry bread or any of that stuff. It's not Indian tacos or anything. Nope. This is a special thing you have to make. Luckily, they're really easy to make. So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to take 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. We have a cup of whole milk. Whole milk, you got to use the whole cup. That's why they call it whole milk. I don't know. Never mind. 2 tablespoons of shortening. We have slightly warmed that. It is quickly cooling back down. We have a tablespoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That's it. You mix this up and you fry them up and you have chalupa shells. So that's it. Let's get to it. Makes sense to me. All right. So in with our flour, in with our baking powder. Again, 1 tablespoon of that, 2 1/4 cups AP, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Boom. All right. We're going to mix this up real fast just to kind of disperse everything so that you don't get any weird lumps in one spot. This should be in every recipe, but I think people are just supposed to know that. If you have a mixer, you could make this in a mixer. I have a mixer. I don't feel like getting it out. This is really simple. Make a well in the middle. Pour in your 1 cup of whole milk. The whole cup. That joke will not get old. Can't get old. It's already old. Can't get any older. So now we're going to put our shortening in here. This is just Crisco. Could you use butter? No. Use Crisco. Could you use lard? That's a good question. I will try this with lard sometime and see how that turns out. But for now, we're using Crisco. Here. Now, mix this up really good. You can get in there with your hands and do that if you want. I don't. So I'm going to do this. I'm using a glass bowl so that you can see what's going on. If you don't have a glass bowl, doesn't matter. Any bowl will do as long as it's big enough. Don't use too small a bowl. That is a serious no-no. Okay. Just mix this up. Yeah, we're going to have to get our hands in this soon. I'm telling you. Okay, this is supposed to be very, very stiff and dry. Think of it like making biscuits, more or less. So it's perfect. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. And it is sticky. I can tell you that much. Okay. Going in. Make sure these are clean and functioning properly. Yep, function test. All right. Yeah, this is basically just making biscuits. The only thing about this is you don't have to worry about making layers and stuff to make flaky biscuits and everything, because that's not going to do you any good. All you have to do is just bring this together. This will make 4 of the normal size chalupas. That's all you really need to do. If you want to make more, I'm not going to stop you. Go ahead. If you're having a big party and everyone's going to be eating chalupas, make a bunch of this. They fry up pretty easily too. So this is super, super easy. It really is. Just make sure you get all the bits. That's why we keep our spatula around, kind of scrape the bowl down, get the good stuff. You never know what bits are hiding and what wonderful flavor bits are there. Okay. Now, I've never seen this in a recipe for this, and there are a few different recipes for this. Some don't use shortening at all. Some use a little bit more flour, a little less. I'm going with a shortening one because I like shortening, and fat is never a bad thing. Tell that to my doctor. All right. When baking things like this, I've never seen it in a recipe. I'll say that again. I started off on that thought. Sorry, it got sideways. Usually, when you have something like this, you let this rest and let it hydrate. Flour takes a while to kind of soak up everything and do all the things it wants to do. So if you let this set for a minute, it's fine. You don't have to refrigerate this because nobody cares. There is no chalupa police that's going to come and check to make sure you put it in the refrigerator, and it doesn't affect the overall thing at all. So take your towel, keep the flies off basically, and let this sit about 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. It'll just kind of rest a little bit, kind of hydrate all that stuff, and then we'll farm them up and make some chalupas. All right, back in 1 second. All right, it has been 25, 30 minutes, something like that. And our dough still looks like dough. There you go. It is nice. It is much softer now. I'm telling you, just let it rest for a few minutes. It makes all the difference in the world. This will make this much easier to work with, much easier to get it into a ball now. I think we're done with this ball. I have a plate here and a bunch of wax paper. We're going to separate these out. Again, we're making 4 of these. I have an extremely clean countertop right here. This happens to be granite, but if you don't have that, you use what you have. I generally don't mix dough like this on wood. If your wood is really, really nice and great and smooth, fantastic. I chop stuff on mine, it gets edges and then it kind of tears this. I just don't do that. Anyways, so we just kind of smash this just a little bit to get it a little bit nicer and smashed in. Now we're gonna work it. Still having a problem with my shoulder. I'm trying, but it doesn't respond well to certain things. That happens to be one of those things. All right, so now we're going to take this ball and now that it's good and round, right, we do our little dough thingy. It's got a nice little butt crack in it right there. We're going to split this into 4 pieces. I'm being very gentle with the knife against the stone, of course, and it's a crappy knife. What's the difference between a good knife and a crappy knife? About $100. All right, there. We have our 4 pieces, and that's dirty now. Okay, now we need to roll these into balls. It's all about the balls these days. It's not an exact quote from the movie, but these aren't ball bearings. So, there you go. Okay. These are roughly into balls. They are coming together nicely. I like them a lot. Okay, now we're going to use our rolling pin. That's what this is. This is a really dumb one. This is the kind you buy at the grocery store for, I don't know, what do they cost now? 100, 150? Beats me. Every time we go to the grocery store, you're like, what? A thing of mayonnaise is $8. Huh? I swear to God. I'm not sure we're going to make it. All right. So, turn. Quarter turns. And keep going. It's not going to be perfect on the edges, and the chalupas have those kind of fun little edges. So we're going with a chalupa size. And why do you keep turning it instead of just doing this? Well, because now I just stuck that to the counter, and getting it up is tricky. If you keep moving it, it doesn't do that. Okay, these are going to be good sized chalupas because it's my kitchen. I can do what I want. If you want small chalupas, cut them into 6 pieces or 8 pieces, something like that. I don't want that. These will puff up, so you want these pretty thin. And I've probably stuck it to the surface here pretty good. I have not. This is working really well, and I mean working by you can work it pretty easily. Some things really stick quite a bit. Some things are a pain in the butt. This seems to be working pretty nicely. And if I'm speaking in a tone that makes you think I've never done this before, congratulations. You're very perceptive. I've never thought to make my own chalupas before because you can just buy them. But we're not making just any chalupas, are we? We're not. You can't buy these, so you have to make them. Or you can just get the chipotle sauce. It's close enough. But it isn't. Right? You saw my Baja sauce. Have I made that yet? I don't know. It's in the video. I haven't edited this, so I don't know when any of this stuff happens. But none of this happens in the order that I'm shooting it. So if the Baja sauce exists already, you see how easy it is to make. If it isn't, stick around because you're going to see how easy it is to make. There you go. Now we have what appears to be the world's ugliest chalupa. There you go. It's fairly thin. I don't know if you can see in this one. It's pretty thin, but not super thin. It's not tortilla thin because it's a chalupa. So put it on some wax paper so it doesn't stick, and do the rest of this. I won't make you watch me do all of them. Fast forward. So that is all of our 4 chalupa shells done and ready to go. We have to fry these off. If you have a deep fryer and a chalupa shell maker form thingy, then feel free to use that. If you don't, well, then you might want to do it this way. It's pretty easy to do. You just need a frying pan and some oil. I'm using canola oil, vegetable oil works, peanut oil, any oil that doesn't smoke. So don't use smoking oil. Motor oil is bad. Even the 10W30 stuff. Don't use it, man. Just something, not olive oil, basically. That's all that means. Let's get these in the pan and get them cooked up. Now for the fun part, cooking our chalupa shells. Now we're going to put this face down so that we can cook the inside first. Otherwise you're going to have a raw inside, and that's a no bueno. So cook it just a little bit. You'll see it start bubbling up and getting a little active and a little interesting. Just fold it, use something to get the nice taco fold out of it, that U-shaped boat shape that chalupa is known for. You're going to cook this on the one side down like this. You might want to, and I had to because I probably didn't use quite enough oil, kind of squish it down and get some oil inside. So see me here trying to get some of the hot oil to the inside to finish cooking the inside a little bit more, as it's a little undercooked at this point. The other thing I forgot to tell you is you have to dock this like crazy. Take a fork and smash it into this a lot to prevent the air bubbles. Otherwise, this thing blows up like a balloon. So you don't want that. That's bad. But yeah, just try and get the inside done. The outside will take a minute or two, something like that.
You don't want to overcook it, but you don't want to undercook it either. So just make sure you get that beautiful color. That's a little under, but this will only take a second. Once you've pulled it off and drained it, we're ready to make a chalupa.
So we're making just the standard chalupa, so I have ground beef. Couple things about the meat, because there's a lot of people who want to know how to make the seasoning, how to make the stuff and everything else. Well, Taco Bell sells their own seasoning packet. I'll find a picture and put it over here someplace or something. You can use that. That is the best way to do this, the easiest way if you want to get authentic meat flavor with their meat. The only thing is, there is something special about their meat that you can easily do at home, but you have to take an extra step. As you can see here, this is a burger grind, basically. It's a medium grind for this ground beef. If you're grinding your own beef, you need to go really, really small, really, really fine, and you'll probably want to run it back through the grinder again, because their meat is really, really fine. That's what gives it the right texture, and it also changes the flavor dramatically. So how do we get around that using meat that's like this? A food processor. Yes, we will cook this. If you do it right now, you make mush. Don't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this, we're going to drain it, then we're going to run it through the food processor, then we're going to add our seasoning packet. I'm not using the Taco Bell seasoning packet. I'm also not making it from scratch. Making it from scratch means you have to grind up oats, and you have to use MSG, and you have to use several other things that are kind of weird and stuff in there. Or you can use one of these. It is, I guarantee you, 99% the flavor of Taco Bell meat. It's really, really darn close, and it has such wonderful things in it, like spices and cornstarch and salt and onion and garlic. There you go. That is not exactly what Taco Bell puts in theirs. The other thing Taco Bell doesn't do is really drain the meat, which is why they use the oat powder for that. It soaks up the meat and it becomes a meat extender. They can sell you the grease that you would take out, and it's not as good for you. So this way, you're eating healthy. It's like Diet Taco Bell. Think of it that way. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to cook this up real fast. Then we're going to throw it in the food processor. I'll show you all these steps. But that's basically how you make authentic Taco Bell flavored stuff. If you have this, you are 99% there. If you have one of these, then you're 100% there. But the trick is you have to use the right meat, and it has to be pulverized the right way. So now that you know that, we're just going to cook it. Okay? Come on. Let's go. The actual cooking part of the meat is pretty straightforward. Just grab a large frying pan, put your meat in there, put it over a medium high-ish heat, and start cooking it. Now break it up so that you get somewhat small pieces, but you don't have to be too crazy at this point, because we're going to be running this through the food processor to get really, really fine before we put the seasoning in it. So just break it up as best you can. And keep it moving around, get rid of all the pink. We want this to be fully cooked before we move on to the next part. That's kind of important, but just keep going until there's no more pink left. Once it's all done, and we're pretty much about there. There's a little bit, and we're speeding this up at, 5 times normal speed. So it's going pretty fast, but it takes a couple minutes to cook the meat. Then we're just going to drain it off and get as much of the grease out of this as possible, because grease is not really good for you. So that's one of the ways that this is healthier than the Taco Bell version, because we're not doing anything to mash the grease. We're getting rid of it. So just do that, and then we're ready to move on. So you've seen me do this grease drain thing like this 100 times. If you haven't, welcome to the channel. It's nice to have you. Go watch one of the other videos, because this is my favorite way of draining grease, because everybody has a jar or whatever. Put it in a bowl like this. Take this, like this, kind of fold up the edges a little bit. Stick this in your freezer. It'll freeze solid. Once it does, trash day comes around, wad it up in a ball. You can put this in a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, something like that if you want to, if you don't want to drip and all that, if it's summertime. If it's wintertime, it'll stay solid. And then it's a trash guy's problem. There you go. Easy peasy. To be clear, I said trash guy. Anybody could pick up trash. I don't assign anything to that. Ladies, you want to go pick up trash? Go for it. Okay, so we've browned our meat, we've drained it, and now we're going to put it in our food processor. This is annoying because now you have to clean your food processor. I hate doing dishes, so I try and do things as easily as possible. Can you do this without the food processor step? Can you take like a potato masher and mash the heck out of it? I don't know, it depends on how well you want to make this. I mean, how good do you want it to taste? I want it to taste good, so I'm willing to do the dishes. Save this, don't throw this away. What are you doing? Come on. All right, just mash this down a little bit. We do this before we put the seasoning in so that we open up the meat again. You can do it afterwards, but it makes an even bigger mess. So we're just gonna pulse this, not a lot. Okay, let's take a look. See what we got here. That's some really, really fine meat now. Okay, that's the secret. That really does radically change the way that the meat tastes. If you have meat that is already a fine grind, you might not have to do this step. You might be able to break it up well enough in there. That's kind of up to you and your meat. For me, with a medium grind burger grind, you have to do this step if you want authentic flavor. But yeah, that's it. So let's get it back in the pan and get it seasoned up. That's it. It's not hard. There you go. You have one of these? You have Taco Bell at home. All right.
Now that the meat's been run through the food processor and made all small, we can finish with the seasoning. We put 3/4 cup of water in the frying pan over a medium heat with our packet of taco seasoning. And we're just going to add the meat back to that once it comes to a simmer and starts to thicken up just a little bit. This just gives it a jump start. Once the meat goes in, all we need to do at this point, since it's fully cooked, is just incorporate this and get it all absorbed into the meat. This really does replicate the Taco Bell flavor and texture almost perfectly. So no matter what you're making, it's really going to taste a lot like Taco Bell. That's it. It's pretty simple, huh?
So it was basically the only thing different about the Baja Chalupa was the Baja sauce, which is pretty much their Chipotle sauce now. So if you want a Baja Chalupa, you can pretty much just get the Chalupa Supreme thing, get no sour cream, but add the Chipotle sauce. Pretty much the same. There you go. They called it something different. It used to be Baja sauce and Baja Chalupas. I love Baja Chalupas. I prefer that to the sour cream. Sue me. It's got a little zip to it, and I like it. What does it take to make? You've seen me do this in a short before, but it was very quick, and I may have left out an ingredient or something. I don't know. Beats me. That was about 100 years ago I did that. So who knows? I don't go back and watch stuff. So all right. So we have mayonnaise. We have a little bit of sour cream. We have a little bit of heavy cream. We have garlic powder. We have paprika, and we have chipotle powder. If you can't find chipotle powder, you can always get one of those cans of chipotles. They're actually better, but you have to really dice it up fine, especially if you're going to put this in a squeeze bottle. And of course, you're going to put this in a squeeze bottle because you have an Amazon account, and you can just look up squeeze bottles and buy a 12-pack of them for like $7 or something. Every kitchen should have them, and we're going to do that with this. So let's get started. Now the amounts. Realistically, it's probably half and half of this, equal parts of this, and then just enough cream. You can use milk if you want to as well, to thin it out enough to make it squeezable. This is going to be a very thick mixture. And we're not going to make a ton of it because it doesn't keep forever because it's got lots of dairy in it. So don't make a ton of this unless you're, opening up a Taco Bell. In which case, just use the chipotle sauce. Close enough. Okay. That looks like about equal parts there. Now, we want to use about a teaspoon each of these things to add the flavor. I'm clearly measuring with my invisible measuring spoon there. You see that? It's a lot of chipotle, but that's a lot of mayonnaise and sour cream, which is going to pretty much kill anything. This is paprika is mostly for color, but a little bit of flavor. Get about a teaspoon of that. Garlic, we're going to use about a half a teaspoon of garlic. Garlic is very important in this. Can you use fresh garlic? Yes, but you have to smash the crap out of it, otherwise it gets stuck in the tip of the squeeze bottle. Not as convenient as you think it is. All right, you don't need a lot of lime for this, but you do need a little bit of lime. So I'm using 2/4. That's what I'm using. And that's going super, super well. I'm going to put this one on top of that one and see if we can get more juice out of it. And we got a little more. Okay, that's really all you need. All right, so if you mix this up first before you add your cream, that way you will figure out how much you need. Realistic, it's maybe a tablespoon. It's not a lot, just enough to thin it out enough to get to shoot out of the thing. The way that you can tell is it glooping off of that. It should run off pretty easily. Otherwise, it's going to be murder to try to squeeze this and put this on your chalupa. Your Baja Chalupa. Oh yeah. Haven't had one of these in a while, I bet. Because everything good they get rid of. They must have like a board that meets and says, hey, that Bill guy, what's he eating these days? They go, oh, he likes that Baja Chalupa. All right, it's out of here. Yeah, I'd say she's fresh. Forgot this was the fresh one. Of course it is. There we go. And boom. All right, fresh as it gets. Again, about a tablespoon. You can always add more, it's hard to take it out. But you're just looking for a consistency, and I'll show you what that is here in 2 seconds when I achieve it. Yep, a little more. Just a smidge. Must have been about half a teaspoon. If you, it really is up to you. If you like it runnier, make it runnier. If you like it thicker, make it thicker. Their sauce may be a little bit thicker because they have the huge that goes in there, and they can squirt that in. Back in the day, the sour cream came in a caulking gun. I don't know if it still does or not, but it was an actual caulking gun for like the big tubes. It's hilarious. Just go down to the hardware store and pick one of those up. Who's the guy that is like, hey, we need some sour cream, but get it in a caulking tube, will you? Well, I'd love to see that guy who had to procure that first. Talking to their supplier going, hey, I like your sour cream, but does it come in a caulking tube? Okay, let's see. Runny, drippy, not gloppy. That's what we're looking for. There you go. And that's how you make Baja sauce. There you go. Now back to the show. Chalupa Central around here. And I'm doing every kind of chalupa I can think of. There's a few others like the steak and chicken and stuff like that. But this is a great selection of chalupas. We have our Supreme, our Baja, and that's the secret. You're gonna have to watch that in a different video because that's crazy. So ignore that for right now. Or you can go here and see the link to that video where I make the quesalupa. Yes, that is a quesadilla as the shell of a chalupa. Pepper jack cheese, the whole thing. You gotta watch the video. No, not gonna ruin it. Not gonna ruin it. You gotta see the video. Okay, let's move on to these guys here. So we've got a Baja sauce right here. We have sour cream. Those are the two things that make these two different. Otherwise, that's it. Oh, meat. Hold on. There's our meat. There it is. I don't know if you can see it in that camera. Probably not. Anyways, you saw how we did the special thing to the meat. That is Oh my God, it's Taco Bell in here. Okay, so we light up the, just load it up. Start putting this in. The exact amount is up to you. The amount they would use is in that little trough hooky thingy. And there you go. Let's be honest, that's probably what they use. There you go. That is the step one. Step two is they put the sour cream right down on top of it. Because, dear God, why would you want to do that? I don't know, but they do. So that's what we do, right? That's how we do it around here. We do what they do. Not the plan. I don't really like a lot of sour cream, so I'm going to go with very little sour cream in this. If you like a lot of sour cream, use more sour cream. They use the big and squirt it in there, and it goes in nice and even. I don't have one of those. I have a spoon. And an aversion to that. Not so pretty. Don't put the spoon back in there after you do that. Okay. Just saying. All right, lettuce. They use iceberg. This is green leaf lettuce because it tastes better and it's nicer and I like it. And there you go. We're going to put a little bit of this in there. Yep. Just a smidge. There you go. Tomato, because it's tomato-rific. This is just a Roma tomato that you slice up. That's how that works. Cheese. It's just cheddar. It's a finer grind or a shred on that. And that, oops, stuff's coming out. It's not as pretty because I'm not a food artist, but that is a Chalupa Supreme. There you go. Made your own shells, made the whole thing. There you go. Hey, what makes a Baja? Right here. Load this guy up with some meat. Now we have our Baja sauce. You saw how we made this? Super easy. You can do that. Trust me, I know you can. Lay this in. Now, I happen to like the Baja sauce, so I'm going to use more. Use as much as you like. It's up to you. And it doesn't want to come off there. And I'm in a hurry, so boom. Otherwise, it's pretty much exactly the same. Again, iceberg would be traditional. I used green leaf lettuce. It's fancier. It tastes better. I think you've heard this somewhere before. That's how you know it's true. All right, tomatoes. Put them in there. These are just Roma tomatoes diced. Somebody's Groundhog Day in here. All right, tomatoes. That's probably more than they would ever use. Cheese. Because, there you go. Baja Chalupa. Chalupa Supreme. Baja Chalupa! Baja Chalupa! I cannot wait to tear into that. It has been, what, 15 years since I've had one of those, since they stopped making them, something like that. I cannot wait to tear into it. So look. Okay, don't generally eat over food or other people's food or anything like that. That's gross, but it's just between you and me, right? Oh. That is so yummy. Okay, that shell, the chalupa shell thing is money. Spot on perfect. It just needs a little bit of this. Haha. Yes, you can buy this in that thing. They used to sell the green stuff in a jar too. They stopped doing that even. You believe it? But yeah, all these need is a little bit of Taco Bell hot sauce or the taco sauce. This is mild sauce. Use whichever sauce you prefer. Oh, now once you've done that, you have a real Taco Bell meal, and doggone it, it's delicious. So thanks for watching, and let me know what else to make. And stick around to watch the quesalupa. Because I'm about to make that. And you're going to have to see the next video to see it. Not that it's going to be a long video, because basically you saw everything here. But in case, because people don't see stuff, I will go over everything again, but maybe in a little shorter version, you know, unlike this speech right here, which is seeming to go on and on forever. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks for watching, and check out the rest of the Taco Bell stuff that I've got. There's a playlist. I've done everything from the bell beefer, the enchilado, chilitos, the taco salads, basically everything. So if you like this, you like one of those. And if you like that, then subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.